Hey there, it's JoJo and Joanne today and tonight from New York and Miami. We're ready to hear and ready to share our trails, perils, and decades of experiences and connections with you while we ensemble interview authors, athletes, comedians, entrepreneurs, experts, podcasters, and successful nuts we've curated over the years. Join us on Spotify, Apple, Spreaker, Callin, and wherever you may listen. Follow us on our socials at our names found in the comments section all over the sites. This is happening now with JoJo and Joanne. Hi, ladies.
Hi,
Welcome.
ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you.
JoJo.
So, our guests today, sisters and podcast entrepreneurs, Miranda and Alessia Di'Pasquale, are co-founders and co-hosts of Lifting the Rug, a podcast designed to break down social barriers and start important conversations. Miranda is 25 and a registered nurse. Allesia is 19 and an aspiring entrepreneur attending university. They come from a large family of 7. It's fantastic, all of whom have slightly differing opinions about pretty much anything. However, with love and conversation comes understanding and unity, a philosophy they hope to pass on to their listeners worldwide. Their mantra is, can't we all just get along?
Hello, ladies. Welcome to our show. We're really excited to have fellow podcasters, right, on the show. And we usually kick off the show with what we call the quick take or our take about whatever we're kind of hitting for the day, right? So here we're talking podcast industry, and boy, oh boy, right? So back in 2006, only 22% of the adult population knew what a podcast even was, right? Or were aware of some kind of probably more political or more storytelling, I guess, podcast that kind of started in the beginning. And of course, pandemic, which everyone's home, listening, creating, etc. By 2021, that figures like 78%. Okay, wow. So now 70, I'm sure now we're in 2022, it's got to be like, 85% of adults. Now I'm probably going to say probably are just not aware of a podcast. They're probably listening to a podcast, right? Yeah. Somewhere along the line. We know that Joe Rogan, for example, my God, he has 11 million viewers and listeners a day, and he's on Monday through Friday, which I can't even like imagine having to record or be on a podcast Monday through Friday, but he does it. He basically can take whatever he has right now and be his own platform, right? Because he's got 11 million, but Spotify being the most popular, where do you guys kind of feel that that's at for right now? Do you think that's fair, those figures?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I feel like every week there's a new celebrity that has a podcast. So I feel like that's like marketing in and of itself is just like, I like this person, so I guess we'll listen to this podcast. It's fine. Yeah.
And I feel like it's extending to the younger generation. Like it's started kind of with older folks. And now it's like more, even like teens are starting, like mid-teens and like early 20s. Like there's a lot of like YouTubers and like social media people that are just like extending themselves to podcasts, and it almost like opens a new page to like finding out things that you wouldn't have found out about them if they hadn't had a podcast, which is kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, you get to know people, right? And talking about that younger generation, going back to Mr. 11 million followers, his demographic is really 18 to 34, right? So whether you like him or you don't, he is interesting. He's got all kinds of things to say, and he's got a diverse, within that 18 to 34, I would usually think, oh, it's all guys. No, it's a really diverse demographic. So JoJo, what do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I think Joe, the great thing about him, and I think there's a lot of great podcasts and podcasters out there, and it's because I think everybody is, a lot more people are going to podcasts for, actually, the daily news and the current news and the breaking news. And because you're really getting a straight and direct point of view. I mean, of course there's podcasts and there's shows out there that might have a particular, they're going to angle a story a certain way. But I think by and large, you're getting real right from the person, right? It's not too many filters by other people or big brothers or big sisters or other big parents. It's not, they don't have to answer to anybody. So I think that's the really cool thing. And I think that it's been such a migration over to it. I know I certainly have. There's quite a few podcasts I listen to, and I listen to them because you just have four really smart guys hitting on, okay, what's new this week in news, or politics, or whatever's going on in the state, in the country, in the world. And I just see the migration being greater and greater until maybe something on television changes. That migration is going to be greater and greater over the podcast.
What made you guys create your podcast?
So it's actually a funny story, and it's like a story that I really like to tell because our background is politics. The foreground is politics as well. But it started, her first election was what was it, the 2020 election. And she had just turned 18. It was like a big deal. We went to the same location that I had went to for my first voting experience. It was great. And it started off really empowering, really awesome. People were like clapping because she was so young, like young voter.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was so great. And we were kind of split up into two areas, two sections. You went with a woman, I went with a guy, and they like kind of showed us what to do. I was used to it, whatever. But she had never done it before. So I kind of wanted to be a little bit closer to her, but it was whatever. So, they went through it, and then she had, and you could take it from here because
they had to basically, they took my paper to like scan it, obviously, and I put it in the wrong way. And so instead of like the lady being like, oh, just like flip it over, whatever, she like took the paper and like flipped it for me, but then like looked at my like who I voted for and like gave me this like a stink eye, like she was gonna kill me. And I was like, hi. And then she like flipped the paper, put it back in, and like literally the room almost like it's like it turned like 5 shades darker in there.
Yeah, you could feel
it was like
deflated.
Okay.
Yeah. So much for your wonderful first experience of voting,
Yeah. We're like, okay, we could turn this into, we could just mope about it, we could talk about it, we could cry about it, or we could like talk about it and use it as a platform for something that people maybe are experiencing themselves, and they have. And it's not just one way or the other. It's not just one side or the other, because there could be another party that's heavy, that's kind of controlling voting or volunteering that day, and they see it, and it deflates the other way. So
and that happens, right? Depending on what city you go to and what state you go to, right?
Absolutely. But why is it happening? How can we kind of flip it? Can we start a conversations that change that?
Well, and at the end of the day, it's not supposed to happen, right? It's not. You're when you're in those polling positions, okay, because they're very important positions, and these people take it like whatever. It's 99%. It's like a lady who's done it for the last 80 years, and she's like done with everything. But they should be poker face. They shouldn't be one way or another. I mean, where are the laws about not polling, 2 feet from the station or whatever? And people kind of, because what you say, a particular party is controlling that area or whatever, or it's the inflated one, and the other party's trying to be there. Oh, forget it. It's not going to happen. But if they were doing it, it'd be absolutely fine, right? The hypocrisy behind that.
Yep. Yeah.
That could be a whole other podcast for
exactly. But it's not, it's a culture of pointing fingers. It's a culture of just like, it's an inhospitable environment in person and online. Like we live in like this like feed kind of philosophy and feed culture where we're just like flipping through and like, I hate this, I like this, and that's it. It's black or white, and you can't change my mind. But you should be able to talk about it, and they don't even want to talk about it anymore. They just want to, no, that's it, my mind's made up.
That's it. That you tap on something really huge, Miranda, that, life is not black and white. People out there, and sure, it would probably be easier if you could just quantify it and everything in life would be black and white, but most of life is gray. So, I'm sorry that, on behalf of your first voting experience, because I believe that having a civic duty and your civic responsibility to your local and state and your country is so important. Mine, and I'll just share my first voting experience, and it was, I wish you you had mine, Alessia, because it was almost similar to the day of the Super Bowl. Like, you wanted your team, but you wanted your team. You didn't want the other team, but certainly not what you went through.
Yeah.
Certainly
And
very
honestly,
far from what you went through.
Yeah. I feel like if I was a weaker person, I would have been like, well, I don't want to vote again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it could have gone that way, but I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, how can I make it so I can better myself and like kind of encourage and like make people like figure out like why I'm voting for this person and like
educate them, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, and that's very important. I admire that you guys took that and you made it, when they say make lemonade from the lemons, you absolutely did, and a really sweet one that you did. And I think that it's important to put messages out there, whether people agree with them or not. I'm sorry, that's what debate is. Where did debates go in high school? Like, you can't even do that anymore because it's you're wrong, and no one can actually look outside of the box for so many different things.
And Joanne, I mean, I remember, this is gone currently, but when we were growing up, people respected the debate. You looked forward to the other side, and you had a really healthy, you respected the debate and what were they going to say. And it was probably very similar to, what attorneys still go through. You respect both sides and see what they're going to come up with. And if you don't respect the other side, then it could be for a very long trial and very misfortunate. And, it's what we're in right now politically, but, Joanne, I feel bad that those times are gone.
Oh, of course. Well, it's been a long time.
You could have frenemies or just respect to disagree.
It's been a long time
you
coming.
understood where they, came from.
And I'll tell you that exactly what you said, that experience could have turned you and deterred you for the rest of your life. And you could have been like, oh my God, that was so, I'm never going to go vote. Why should I? Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have felt that, and it goes beyond not because they're trying not to make you vote or whatever. It's an experience also that something could happen, and you're on the other path now, and you're like, forget it. They don't need it. They don't need my vote, which is not true, people. Every vote counts. Let's just put that out there. With whatever side you're on, every vote counts, in my opinion.
So you guys did a great thing, turning lemons into lemonade. Tell us about some of your favorite shows that you've had so far, and how is it working together as sisters?
I love it because we, out of all the family, like, I feel like me and her and my dad are really similar in our views. So it's been pretty easy. But like, that love for debate comes from in the house, because we all have different opinions, and it, like, it's healthy. It's healthy argument. It's healthy conversation that we're trying to like inspire. So having like my mom on sometimes is really interesting because she's like Switzerland. So she's just like,
or tries to be.
It's okay, it's fine. Everybody can win, kind of thing. So those have been fun episodes. My favorite episode so far has been with Charlie.
That was great.
So fun.
That was a great episode.
Awesome. Yeah, I love those. I love when we have guests, because we can really see from every side, from every opinion, how it's how our message is impacting them, what they have to bring to us to have a conversation about, which is the whole point of the podcast. So anytime we have people on, I don't know about your favorite episodes, but
I think my favorite, it wasn't a specific episode, but like the first ever like segment we did about the whole COVID like lockdown, the pandemic, like we kind of broke it down into like what, 6 episodes?
Yeah, because we broke it down into like subtopics, kind of like how it financial, social. We did like kind of different layers to the lockdown, because there were different layers to it.
Sure.
And how it impacted people, especially small businesses. There was a huge thing about small businesses.
Everybody thought they were mentally healthy until pandemic happened.
Well, not really. Yeah.
Not mentally healthy.
And there have been instances where I've heard different stories where I've heard like, oh my God, my family got so close in the pandemic. This has been so good for us. Or, oh my gosh, I can't deal with life anymore because of this pandemic.
Right.
It's like one extreme or the other, or you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So like exploring that was really cool.
It was, because, and we got to do so much more research on the topic, because obviously like we knew the basis of it, right? We knew it was happening. We knew like some numbers, but then once we dove into like some of the subtopics, it was like, whoa, like this is actually like the numbers that's like happening in this world. Like,
it was a little
the
sad.
small business one, I think
That was
got
sad.
me the most, because it's like, it was a completely like really successful restaurant, for example, like, and then all of a sudden doors are closed, boarded up, like done, like their lives are completely changed.
Right.
In a second.
Yeah.
So you endured most of it in New York State?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, we actually, when quarantine was at its peak, I had like a month off from my job because I was transitioning jobs. So we were like, okay, we're going to Florida. And we all quarantined together in Florida for like 5 weeks. And it was cool.
It was fun.
I liked it. But we did it together, and we did it, a certain way. Everybody did quarantine differently, and the pandemic did things differently. But that did something for all of our relationships.
And we still talk about that trip.
Still, I think
it was my
cool.
dad will just bring it up.
To Florida. Where were you guys staying?
We were in Cape Coral.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we went to Jupiter for the last week.
The last week of it.
Yeah. So the East Coast of Florida, West Coast, East Coast, it's all so great. Yeah. Florida has some really great places, and even Central Florida. I have to tell you, I've been, like I said before we were recording, I've been here for 3.5 years, and I love this state. I really, really do. It's got a lot to offer. I'm going to say it on this podcast because I only say it to people, but if we had to secede from the union at any point, we'd be okay. We have dairy, we have cows, we have fish, we have water around us. We're good to go. A lot of agriculture.
Yeah.
It's
fine.
It's life changing, but pandemic, listen, it did hit people different, right? It hit everybody differently, and everybody dealt with it in very different ways. And I feel like there are some people, and look, even including myself, like I was, of course, dealing and with everything and going through the motions, but I think it took me almost after the fact, obviously we're still during the pandemic, but it almost took me till, I don't know, recently to kind of say, I've been through this, and I'm still kind of hurting, in different ways. So I think it catches up with people at different times.
Well, now we just have the longevity of approaching year 3 of it. So that's something to deal with in and of itself, just wondering when are we gonna resume to some sort of normality and a new normality that everybody is good enough with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to do a really quick segment that we call Sponsors Corner, because we have to pay our bills, as I say. So we want to thank all of our sponsors. You can go to the comments section for details on Boat Hotline, Miami's premier yacht and boat rental platform. Yacht season is here, so go find a really nice yacht to rent. Cyber Private Wealth in Jersey City, Beverly Hills, and Miami. Jojo and the team will help you build your financial path every step of the way. Keller Williams, Miami Beach, for all your real estate needs. Blankenship Dry Goods on Greenwich Avenue in Greenwich, Connecticut, all made in the USA for sailing and boating and skiing and outdoor, and Haute Advisory Media in New York City and Miami. We start conversations. Jojo.
So ladies, what's in your future? What do you see? I see that you're dabbling, you're not really into media per se, an entrepreneur and nurse, but is media in your future? Where do you two see yourself in the next 5 years and 10 years, you know?
I kind of think so. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We took a little bit of a break and we're working on season 2 right now. A lot of our new episodes are going to be, we're starting this new like episode length. We don't really know how long it's going to go, but it's going to be lifting beginnings. So it's essentially taking really hot topics, like really uncomfortable, the most uncomfortable hot topics you could have at a dinner table.
Yeah.
And like turning them into an actual conversation
I
like understanding where the term came from, understanding the origin of the story. So, and how we can all like have common ground based off of the history of it. Our first little segment is going to be feminism, which is real big and like a lot. So we have to tread lightly, but also not tread too lightly because, you know, of our message and what we're trying to get across.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really love it. I love like writing we don't really write scripts because it's pretty unscripted.
More like
but
bullet points.
we do a lot of research for it.
Yeah.
And I love doing the research for it and like coming together when we find our research and kind of troubleshooting from there. But I like it a lot. I would do it for
Yeah.
long term for sure.
And are you with her too, or yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I do enjoy it, although sometimes we do get a little bit of a fight. But that's just because some of our like we don't agree on everything.
Yeah,
like it's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
But
You wouldn't want to agree with everything.
exactly.
You wouldn't want to look at yourself and deal with yourself every day.
Right, exactly.
But I do enjoy it. It's definitely something that we started, and I want to see it grow. I want to see it become something more than it is now, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like for the amount of time we do put into it, it'd be so awesome to see it like become what we dreamed of becoming. But I don't know.
And
it
I think
takes time.
Persistency
Yeah.
and hard work, right? When you putting something aside for a minute and stopping is not the same as quitting, right? Stopping sometimes is something you do to take that break and maybe reorganize or redo your next season or whatever it is, right? And it's not quitting. And I think that you guys have something really, really great here. Speaking on feminism, and I won't give too much away, but I used to do some political talk in New York in Espanol. And there was a very heated topic on Pura Política once, where it was all about feminism. I was on one side and 3 were on the other side. So it was always me against like 3 other people,
Right.
which apparently the producers seemed to think that I could always handle. But anyway, a very interesting and I think we did it during May or something when it was that, you know, it was it was probably 2017, 2018. So it was one of those big feminist parade days in the city and the whole thing. But we can have another chat about that at another time for sure. So I want to, we love that you guys are on. We love what you're doing. I think that you know, you have a lot of potential, and I think you will see this grow. Don't even hesitate on that. But
We'll help you with that.
We like to play, we like to ask all of our guests at the end of our show a little thing that we call Eat, Play, Love. It's a rapid fire. It's 3 questions. So you guys can just you know, kind of answer together, or so most interesting place you have traveled.
Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland. That's good.
Okay.
Was it
Geneva?
Yeah.
Love it. Favorite meal? You can have 2 because you're 2 of you.
Pesto pasta.
Nice.
Filet with a lobster tail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love. I love pasta, but I love that one. 3 people at your dinner table, dead or alive. They don't need to be famous. They can be famous. It's whatever you want, and we'll allow you to go over 3 because there's 2 of you.
Okay.
So your 3, Miranda.
My 3 are Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm at that table. Before you go, Allesia, have you seen the new Clive Davis on Netflix?
Have you?
No.
Have either of you?
Oh, yeah,
You gotta see it because it should really be called Clive Davis and Whitney Houston. So check it out. It's
Okay.
Who
yeah.
are your 3? Who are your...
I don't.
Think about like famous people. It doesn't have to be like top of your head.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Okay, all right.
It could be your siblings. I mean, that's
My
fine.
twin sister, my dog, Bear.
There you go.
Not me.
And your best friend or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Not me.
Not your sis, not your other sister.
And maybe you.
Great.
If
From
you're
my
lucky.
sister I podcast with. Take a break.
That's hilarious. That is great. Good job.
Well, thank you girls for being on today. Do you have any special events coming up that you want to tell our listeners about?
No specific special events, but stay tuned for season 2 because it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna be posting. We did a thing where we tried to post weekly, but I think we're gonna try to post whenever we feel like inspired or really driven to give you the best content possible.
Great.
But we have some good stuff lined up, so definitely take a listen.
And so give us the 2, lifting the rug, and then what's the new that you're gonna launch?
It's lifting the rug, but it's still the same podcast, still the same link to the podcast, Spotify, on our Instagram.
Yep.
But season 2 is going to be more lifting beginnings.
Lifting beginnings, lifting the rug, lifting beginning, going into season 2. Listen to these girls. Big love and
They're
big thanks
amazing.
again to Miranda and Alessia Di'Pasquale. Check out their podcast. We just said lifting the rug and lifting beginnings. Find all their contact information in the comments section, all over our social media sites and all over theirs. Check them out. Give them a follow on social media. And Joanne, who do we have on deck for next week?
So we have a good friend of mine, financial and fundraising guru, Noelle Nickpour, Miss New York, Florida, Arkansas. So everybody stay tuned.
Yeah,
we loved having you girls on. We will have to have you on again to talk about season 2 and all of your upcoming things. And thank you guys. Thank you to our listeners and all of the comments in the comment section. You guys can find everybody's information, including their podcast. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.